Topic today, reviewing best practices in global bank connectivity and payments management. Again, I'm your host, Kevin Rice. Quick introduction for myself, the Director of Customer Success here with TIS. And with me is Jörg. Jörg, I'll hand it over to you for a quick intro.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Jörg. I'm the co-founder and Chief Strategy Officer of TIS. I'm looking back at more than 25 years of experience in finance and treasury. Before I co-founded TIS in 2010, I was head of treasury and senior vice president at SAP.
Great.
I keep it short, Kevin.
Great. All right, so let's dive into today's discussion. So first question, Jörg, how do most organizations start off managing bank connectivity and payment functions? What does a typical customer situation look like in terms of banking portals, direct host-to-host connections, and anything else that might be involved there?
Mm-hmm. Well, the problems which we solve today for our clients, these were my problems in my former business life working as head of treasury. So root cause of these problems is a situation in which enterprise cash flow and payment functions are fragmented from a people, process, and from a data perspective. So let me give you an example. Clients work with many different banks. They maintain hundreds of bank accounts for many different legal entities across the globe, supplier payments, salary payments, not to forget treasury settlements, different ERP, HR, treasury systems, and cash flow data is sitting in different silos. So as a result, accounts payable and treasury teams, they don't collaborate. They run different processes, in most cases independent from each other, and they are using different systems, ERP, treasury systems, local bank-specific e-banking tools. And this is this setup is a nightmare. In a perfect world, there is only one ERP system, and you work from a treasury perspective in all your different countries with one bank, and there is one bank account where you pay on behalf. But that's the perfect world, which does not exist. So reality is complex.
I agree. Lean structure is the way to go. It's just very difficult to arrive at it. So absolutely, there's great solutions there. So treasurers, right? They deal with a lot of problems, and you touched on some of those root causes there. Just want to dig into that with you a little bit more there. So why do standard payment practices vary by country and by region? And how about payment types too? We think about all the different options out there, from low value ACHs to high value wires. What are some of the pain points and root causes there?
Yeah, this is really strange, right? This is the same situation since we have founded this company. In a nutshell, long story short, there is no standard in the market. It's crazy, but there is no standard from a payment format perspective. So banks require from their clients to communicate in different bank and country specific languages. And this is really a nightmare. This was part of the problem which I had in my former life. So example, SEPA, single euro payment area, is there a standard only to a certain extent? This is for euro payments only. And maybe it's a 95% standard based on XML, but there are still these bank and country specific flavors. ISO 20022 standard, yes, to a certain extent. Does this solve the problem? Not really. At the end, we are talking about bank, land and country payment type combination. So easy example, companies active in 50 countries, 10 banks, and let's say only 10 payment and only 2 payment types per country. So this gives 50 multiply 10 multiply 2, 1,000 different combinations already. And this is a nightmare. You don't want to deal with that level of complexity. Probably you want to outsource this part of the complexity. And yeah, what a surprise. TIS, we have 130,000 different payment profiles in our library, which makes your life easier. No need to reinvent the wheel over and over again.
I agree 100% there. Really taking the heavy lifting off of IT teams and alleviating a lot of headaches there on that front. Great points, Jörg. So what are the main bank connectivity protocols that Treasury must be familiar with today? And where do APIs kind of fit into that conversation too?
Yeah, by the way, this was a good comment, IT teams. Coming back to your comment, Kevin, they don't like this topic, right? They don't perceive this as their core competence. They also want to outsource. They don't want to invest their budget into something which feels like keeping the lights on. They want to be a business partner. They want to have an impact. That's the reason why the IT teams, from a treasurer perspective, they are also happy if they can outsource this piece of the puzzle. And this, coming back to your question, different payment channels, this is the second layer of complexity. There's also no standard, so different channels, Swift, SFTP, host-to-host, API, eBIX, and this is, or let's say best practice from my perspective, is to use multiple channels at the same time, for example, for statements and for other data traffic. So that's the reason why we offer multi-channel, multi-bank, multi-ERP approach. Again, here's an example. We collect statements on behalf of our clients through bank APIs and SFTP. We transfer supplier payment files through eBIX. We collect millions of direct debits through host-to-host channels. And last but not least, we settle treasury deals through Swift Alliance Lite, which we also run on behalf of the client. So best practice is to establish a multi-channel approach.
Yeah, great points, right? And we think about it, every bank might offer, connection A, but might not be able to offer all the functionality through connection A there. And they might offer connection B that might be able to support exactly what you're looking for. So having the flexibility and availability to use multiple protocols, I agree, great option. So just sticking on the topic of connectivity here, why is establishing connectivity between banks and an ERP or TMS for that matter such a complex process? Is this truly Treasury's responsibility? Does this sit with IT, the external vendor, the banker? Kind of what are the challenges that go into it, and ultimately, who should be responsible for it?
Yeah, from a treasury perspective, from a treasurer perspective, I assume that you prefer to focus on strategic topics like capital market topics, FX and money market, hedging, external funding, bank relationship management, working capital management, not to forget. So from a treasurer perspective, why should you deal with that complex setup? The ERP vendors, they can't be good everywhere, and they don't see a bank connectivity and banking formats as their core competence. And this is for a good reason, because there are established players in the market now solving this problem for their clients. And this is based on the experience which we made in the last years. This is best practice combination to link all your, by the way, in reality, there is not only one massive ERP system as a single source of truth. Probably you acquire other companies and then you are growing fast in different countries, different ERP systems. So this adds complexity, and there is no need to reinvent the wheel over and over again and to configure your ERP system in a way that this can be connected to the different banks. The result would be, if you don't outsource this piece of complexity, would be a spaghetti code, all these ERP systems, all the different banks, and all these different connectivities and format options sitting in between. And this nails you down. There's no flexibility anymore. If you acquire additional ERP systems, you start from scratch again. So this doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely great points there too. You think about that model you just described, it really doesn't make for a scalable solution, right? Especially if you're going at it internally. So Absolutely great to work with a partner there to take off the heavy lifting when it comes to connectivity. Makes a lot of sense. So, what are the consequences or impact for the office of the CFO? Thinking about it from different perspectives here, right? Treasurer, your accountants or analysts, and even the CFO, right, when it comes to the nature of a connectivity and payments project.
Yeah, the impact is at the end that within the office of the CFO, people are working in silos, processes are running in silos, and data is sitting in silos. So collaboration between the teams, the accounts payable, accounts receivable, treasury, controlling, HR, within the teams of the within the office of the CFO, collaboration is weak. They work in silos, and as a result, probably most important argument first, employees are unhappy due to high workload and manual processes. Costs and risk are very high. There's very weak reporting, lack of cash visibility, last but not least, lack of visibility into working capital and cash flow. And on top of that, we discussed this topic, IT challenges with ERP system integration, different channels. So based on my experience as a treasurer, nobody within the office of the CFO and nobody in IT likes this complex setup, and nobody wants to deal with this complexity.
Yeah, I'd say that's a department agnostic goal, right? Always to eliminate complexity and gain efficiencies. So
Yeah,
makes a lot of
and
sense.
if you, from a treasury perspective, again, if you outsource this topic, you will suddenly have a lot of friends within your organization because this
That's,
helps everybody within the office of the CFO, including IT, if they are part of that board area finance.
yeah, it's definitely a byproduct of implementing such a solution, right? It makes everyone's life easier at the end of the day. Great. So we talked a lot, about a lot of different challenges for different stakeholders in kind of, such a process here when it comes to payments and connectivity. How can some of those challenges be overcome? And how does the TIS solution particularly help solve those problems?
Yeah, since more than a decade, TIS is offering industry-leading solutions around payments, cash forecasting, and liquidity management. We are an established player in the market. We help more than 250 clients worldwide across, by the way, across all these different industries to gain full visibility and control. And by transforming how our customers connect their systems to their banks, we reduce IT workload, we streamline the process, we increase payment security, provide better data insights, and enable our clients to gain strategic advantage. We can connect to, or we are connected to more than 11,000 banks already, manage more than 1,000 ERP systems, or more than 1,000 ERP systems are connected to our platform, and payment volume 2.4 trillion US dollar annually, which we process. So we are an established player, and we help our clients to streamline this process, to better collaborate, and to better orchestrate the data. And last but not least, we also help our clients to improve cash flow forecasting and working capital management. And last but not least, to monetize the data. Probably we'll come to that topic, data, cash flow, monetization in a second.
Yeah, thanks for the breakdown there for the audience. So just continuing on that, what are some of the benefits of TIS? What are the main advantages if a company were to leverage TIS to facilitate their global payments and connectivity projects? Really be part of their infrastructure there. What can they expect?
In a nutshell, we reduce costs, we reduce risk, we increase the transparency, and we help clients to monetize their data. That's it. Our customers, they want to outsource. They don't want to deal with all these different payment formats, communication channels, and they want to work with partners they can trust, and we deliver what we promise. expertise and experience in the markets in 13 years. And yeah, that's the benefit. Lower cost, lower risk, better transparency, and cash flow monetization.
Definitely. I think there's a lot of listeners there that can appreciate that too. So thanks for that, Jörg. So what does TIS provide that most ERPs or TMSs or other similar solutions in the marketplace don't?
Yeah, there are many points, right? Let's start with cloud technology, clean multi-tenant architecture. We were the first player in the market offering a cloud-based payment platform. So we have 13 years of experience now, and this helps a lot. We have a successful customer community and happy customers, and this is one of our main assets. We have created this community of happy customers, and we have earned the trust of these customers over the last 13 years in drops, right? Yes, we had some challenges in our early days because treasurers are a kind of risk averse, right? They are not the typical early adopter, and nobody wants to be the first client, and nobody wants to join if the product is not tried and tested. Now, this is history. Now we are established in the market. We do have a very good reputation and happy customer base. And coming back to the question, USPs, or what makes us special? Yeah, because customers can trust us. We simply deliver high quality, and we simply deliver what we promise. So what we see now in the market is this kind of upward spiral, and this is moving faster and faster. Once you have good evangelists, good customers as evangelists in the community, you can grow faster and faster. Why is that? This is the network effect. All these treasurers are connected. They know each other. And once you have a good reputation, this helps a lot to scale. And there's one more thing. We continue to focus on customer-driven innovation. We always carefully listen to our customers. And yeah, we leverage customer intelligence next to artificial intelligence. There is a community of clients. They have all good ideas. And this is where we create together with clients best practices in our solution.
Great. Terrific points there. Yeah, and when you think about it, if there's any part of your, treasury or even just finance operations that you're going to trust with a third party, I think payments and connectivity, right, which greatly impacts your daily operations, is one of the most important. So having a dependable provider there just can't be overlooked. So, and we're talking about all this data, right? All these communications, transactions being done. Data in today's day and age, it's the new gold, right? So how can treasury departments use data to their advantage?
This is a very nice and strategic topic from a treasury perspective, from a treasurer perspective. Now, data is the new gold. And when we founded this company 13 years ago, this was already part of our vision, that we help clients to reduce costs, reduce risk, streamline the process. This is a significant value add, but through orchestrating this process, we help clients to collect data, and we help clients to better orchestrate this data. Treasurers, they are sitting on a gold mine of data, and we help them to leverage. Cash flow is the lifeblood of each company, and only cash flows tells the truth. Accounting data is an opinion from best case yesterday, or typically is an opinion from end of last month, right? So this is outdated. Cash flow data is a gold mine for the office, not only for the treasurer, but a gold mine for the office of the CFO and the lines of business. So if a CFO wants to position the board area finance as a thought leader supporting the lines of business, then this data can be transformed into a strategic advantage. And that is why we offer to our clients also monetization of cash flow, for example, through virtual cards or foreign exchange use cases. My final recommendation to treasurers: use this cash flow data to create value for your company. This will be a kind of career booster for your individual career, right? This will help you to shine in front of the CFO. Example one: use our working capital insights to free up cash and improve cash conversion of your company. Example two: transform your treasury team from a cost center into a profit center. And how could that happen? Well, through monetization of cash flows. Both examples are significant value drivers, and there is a good chance that this will bring you onto your CFO's radar screen watching top talents. So use that data not only in the best interest of your company, but also to boost your career. If you want to learn more, feel free to drop me a message or request a demo with our experts on our website. Do we have some questions, by the way?
Sure. Would you like me to answer or ask you a quick question now, or would you like to continue on?
We can use the last 5 to 10 minutes to answer a few of those questions.
Yeah.
Oh, sure thing. Okay, then I'll jump right into that. So we had a couple questions come in. The first one comes in from Steve. Everyone is talking about APIs, but are APIs a game changer in bank communication?
That's a nice question. API as game changer. Let's start with bank APIs, and then afterwards start about these APIs on the ERP and tech stack side. So APIs on the banking side are very important, and they are part of the connectivity game. But APIs on the banking side, they are not a silver bullet. But there is still multi-channel required. Same story as with the formats. Each bank, imagine, right? This is crazy. Each bank has their own API gateway. Good news is that the technical bank specification, let's say in general, right, the technical bank specification is much better now compared to a host-to-host specification. So this is good news. It's a bit easier to talk to your banks, but you probably don't want to configure your ERP system according to many different individual API specifications of, let's say, 10 different banks, right? So again, there is no standard API. Each bank has own API gateways, and it makes sense to outsource to an aggregator which connects to all these APIs on your behalf. So this is the first part of the answer. Bank APIs, part of the game, but not a game changer, and they are part of our connectivity library. Second part of the answer, APIs on the tech stack or on the ERP side. This is a game changer because it's much easier now to connect different systems, tech stack, office of the CFO, many different systems, ERP systems in different versions from different vendors, maybe a TMS, maybe HR payroll provider. And it's easier now to connect these different systems with each other. So the times are over where you need to have everything in one massive ERP system and where you need to run one massive database. No, these days it's about open architecture, best of breed, flexibility, speed, and by the way, real-time use cases also not to forget. So yes, APIs on the ERP and on the tech stack side, supporting the best of breed approach. This is a very nice story which you should leverage.
Great, thanks so much, Jörg. Next question comes in from Stephanie. With regards to connectivity, isn't part of the issue have to do with distribution of resources?
Sorry, could you rephrase the question? Distribution of resources regarding what?
Sure thing. With regards to connectivity, isn't part of the issue have to do with distribution of resources?
From a treasure perspective, yes, that's clear. There are typically small teams, very limited resources, and there is always an internal fight for budgets and for resources. So you need a good business case to defend additional investments. And by the way, this is where we help to free up resources in your team, to automate processes, to streamline processes. We, for example, avoid that your colleagues need to work in different e-banking tools, which they run in different countries because they need to communicate with many different banks. This is painful. This is manual process. This is a manual process. This blocks valuable resources in your team. Where we help is free up those resources and make life easier for their colleagues so they can focus on really valuable topics like working capital management, FX management, money market deposits, these things. And we help to streamline and free up resources. Yeah.
And Jörg, just to answer that question from another perspective too, if the concern is around resources to say, setting up connectivity in the first place, right? Yeah, you can do it in very lean teams, right? This isn't something that is a all hands on deck effort, rather just a select few individual key stakeholders from a few different departments, maybe one from IT, one from AP, one for Treasury. So if there's concern about that, those concerns can be at ease as well.
Correct. And by the way, forgot one thing to mention back to the formats. And here's another link to the resources. It's not like fire and forget. It's not like you create some payment formats, specific payment formats for a bank, country, and payment type. And this works for many years. No, banks, they frequently change their wish lists. And there are also regulatory requirements, new ISO formats coming up. So there is always maintenance required. And why should you block your valuable resources with format maintenance on a yearly basis? This is part of the outsourcing business case.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. And as we're running up a little bit against time, we have time for one more question. This one comes in from Lisa. Bank counterparty default risk is a problem right now. I don't want to run our mission critical payment processes through one single bank or through a player which is owned by a bank. What is your opinion?
Yeah, this is really a hot topic. When I remember when 13 years ago, when we were in the middle of the last financial crisis, we had this topic, bank counterparty default risk already. And now this topic is back with a few bank defaults in the US and in Europe. So this is a problem. And you don't want to run your mission critical payment processes on a bank system, or you don't want to run these mission critical processes through one single vendor, which is owned by a bank. Yeah? And what you need to do is to diversify. It makes definitely sense to work with several different banks in different countries to diversify your risk. And yes, this risk reduction comes with a price. This increases your complexity because, again, there are different banks, different channels, different format requirements, but you can outsource this piece of the puzzle, this part of the complexity, and you reduce your risk. So you don't want to have all eggs in one basket. From a technical perspective, it's perfect if there is one bank only. There is probably one e-banking solution only, which you can connect to your single ERP system. Nice from a technical perspective, low complexity, very high counterparty default risk. So best practice, diversify and outsource the technical complexity. As what a surprise is completely independent from a shareholder perspective, as well as from a tech stack perspective, completely independent from banks. We have no banks on the cap table. We don't use bank infrastructure or any third-party SWIFT service bureaus as infrastructure or backbone. And yes, we are a SWIFT partner, and we stick to the SWIFT rules, so we don't misuse a bank BIC as our SWIFT BIC. So also good news here from a bank counterparty default risk perspective.
Thank you everybody for joining. We really appreciate your joining us today.
Have a nice day. Thank you for joining, and see you soon, hopefully.